All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. Thank you for joining us on the run home. I am joined today. I tried to get Cardinal fan during his adolescence. Instead, he wasn't available, so I got a Cardinal fan for life. Cardinal fan, welcome to the party, man. Thanks for joining me.
That was my pleasure.
Yeah, we were hoping to get this done for a while now, and we finally made it happen. So I'm happy to be talking to you because where we first linked up is forever, like going back to like 2004 when I joined Csfbl. I always wanted to, or 2005, I always wanted to join lawn chair, and it just didn't happen for a variety of reasons. But I'm in lawn chair now. I'm very proud to be there with the San Marcos Sky, and you know, you're running that league right now. So thanks for letting me in.
Yep, and matter of fact, one of the first transactions, that little bidding war we had between a player of yours on your roster ended up being your first baseman.
What? Oh, what? Wait, what happened?
We had a little bidding war between.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right.
As soon as you joined.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm pretty excited because I'm in third place, and that team had the first overall pick last year. So I'm trying to do a pretty quick turnaround.
Yep, and you've definitely come on strong the last week or so since you've joined.
I've had a really good week too. There were some pieces to that team that were just in the wrong spot, so I just needed to move everybody around. But yeah, I was excited to be there. Well, actually, maybe since you're the commissioner, you'd be best to explain to people what makes lawn chair special, because I don't think a lot of people understand what the culture of lawn chair is.
Well, it's a 2-game-a-day league, which is for a lot of people, actually, it's a very slow and very boring league. But for those that actually enjoy baseball and actually enjoy the camaraderie of your fellow league mates, it's actually relaxed and easygoing league.
Yeah,
I try to make everything as interesting as possible. I mean, I've got my own little so-called newspaper, quote unquote, with you know, interesting people, team stats, and all that throughout the year.
The newspaper thing is a great idea. So every team kind of keeps their paper, and my couple posts I've tried to like immerse into like a real storylines. I think that's a funny part. Has that always been part of lawn chair?
That's something that I started as something as a fill-in for the slower pace of the league. I know Mill Creek's got a newspaper article, and you've got yours, and I've got mine, and there's a few others in there. They haven't been as active as they could be, but I'm sure they'll probably pick up once they hear this podcast.
Yeah, I hope so. And you know, one thing I discovered, because until I got into lawn chair, I hadn't been in 2-a-day leagues because I thought I wanted the most possible games. So I was always in 8-a-day. But the one thing I noticed instantly with lawn chair is I wasn't missing sims where I could set my lineup. I could manage a pitching rotation easier. Those were things that I can't do in the other leagues. And I guess it obviously makes sense, but I didn't realize how impactful it was until I got into the league.
Yes, I mean, that's something about a two-a-day or 4-a-day league. You can actually set your rotation, set your lineup, evaluate your team a couple times in a week, sim time, and decide, well, for example, okay, my guy Fernando Vina is batting 380 in a season so far. I think we have a leadoff man.
Yeah.
Okay, so such guy off a free agent seemed to be all right in closing. I picked him up for nothing, so well, we're just taking with closing. He's got 50 saves on the year.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is you can get free agency. Like you talked about the bidding war, it makes that a little bit more not slanted towards the people that are super hyperactive. Everybody gets a chance.
Yep, everybody gets a chance. And if you put in the right offer and a player thinks you're the right team to sign with, he'll sign with you.
Yeah.
If I recall, played a pretty good offer for me for that player you signed, and he ended up signing with you.
I needed him because I had a big hole on that side of the field. And your team, the Latrobe Alleghenies, is that right? Where'd that name come from?
Yes. Well, when I originally joined, it was something else team wise. I didn't particularly like the team name or location, and I wanted to make my own mark. So I had a choice between a few locations: Mount Airy, North Carolina; Dyersville, Iowa, for the Field of Dreams' sake; and Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Since I didn't see there's a
brewery
team
there, right?
Yep, Rolling Rock.
Rolling Rock. Yeah, I knew I recognized the name Latrobe. Is that? But that's not why you named it that.
Well, the Alleghenies, of course, the Allegheny Mountains, but I'm also a steam train fan. I chased the Big Boy 844 once in Sun, Missouri, and I've always loved trains. And Allegheny is the biggest steam locomotive ever created.
Oh, okay. Now it makes more sense. I did not know that. Yeah. I live in Austin, Texas, and there's this road that cuts through the entire city called Mopac, and it's for the Missouri Pacific Railroad. And that's like how Austin became a thing. It was that railroad, and it takes its biggest turn there. So there is some really crazy long locomotives that go through the city.
Well, I mean, that's right in between California and the Southeast. So there's going to be a lot of trains go through there.
Yep.
With a lot of cargo every day.
Every day. That's right. So, yeah, that's good. So, yeah. So anybody, I don't think Lawn Chair has any openings right now, but get on the wait list.
We are full.
Yeah. But
there's a waiting list. So if you are interested in joining, don't be afraid to hop on a waiting list.
The other thing I like about Lawn Chair is it's very intentionally laid back. And so one thing I remember is back at the height of like CSFBL, there used to be a lot more fights in the forums and a lot more drama. And that never happened in Lawn Chair. It was like part of the tenets of the league is it was a no drama league.
Yep. And that's one thing I've always tried to strive for in the league is drama free. And we're all part of CSFBL to forget our daily grind or struggles or what have you in life. That's part of the reason too I started that paper, because in internet world you can create your own reality. In real life, I'm just a normal or hardworking Joe. Instead newspaper deal, I'm just the blue collar billionaire. It just so happens that on a baseball team.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the nice thing about CSFBL is we all can be baseball team owners and make our team as we see fit. And you just added a media component to it. So you got the baseball team and control the media.
Well, I mean, all these major league clubs have their own media. I mean, Yankees have a YES network. Brewers have a Fox Sports North, and Cardinals have Fox Sports Midwest. I'm still going to take a little while to get used to saying Bally, but it is Bally.
Yeah, I'm not going to get used to it either. And, you mentioned that you're a blue collar worker. And, the first person that I talked to that was in Lawn Chair was Whitfield, Brian Whitfield. And his team in the league I was in with him before were the Blue Collar Bullies. And he likes to play that up too. And when I joined the league, he and I we're good competitors, and so he came back, which I was happy about because he left and now he came back, and he's always been an important part of Lawn Chair. So I'm glad he's back playing.
I want to say he was probably a founder of Lawn Chair. I'm not 100% sure of that, but he's been an integral part of Lawn Chair since the league's been there. One of our previous owners was not active since before Christmas Eve, so he got dropped, and it just so happened Whit was back to himself again, and he got let back in.
Yeah,
he's always been, as far as I know, the hobos in Lawn Chair. I even referenced the fact that I even gave him a song for his hobos, King of the Road, which is basically is a boxcar hopping rail song.
You know what's funny is combining. Well, I didn't think about that because you're into the railroad, and the hobos are, they're for the railroad. And you were also talking about Dyersville in Iowa, and I lived in Iowa for a little while, and not so far from Dyersville is a place called Britt, Iowa, which has the National Hobo Fest. And so like they have hobos come from all over the country, and they make their hobo stew. There's a Mulligan stew. Yeah, where they just take the scraps from the local restaurants and make it into a stew. I think that's funny.
That's an interesting little festival. I've never heard of that. Yeah, to be honest with you.
Britt, Iowa. That's the place. So so that's good. Yeah, and then the when Clone was first talking to you about getting you on the podcast, he realized that you and I had something pretty big in common, is that we like to collect things. And specifically, you've got a big autograph collection. And so I'm curious, maybe I'll take you all the way back to childhood. Like, how'd you first get into baseball? How'd you fall in love with it? And then how'd you start collecting stuff?
Well, I fell in love with baseball because way back in the late 80s, I want to say about 1988, on a certain evening, I probably tuned into KMOX affiliate down here and heard baseball the first time with Jack Buck and Mike Shannon as a wee little kid.
Yeah, and so you've been a Cardinal fan all your life, obviously.
Right. I mean, for baseball down here at the time, if you wanted on TV, it was either Fox Game of the Week, or if you was well-to-do, you had TBS Superstation, WGN. So your options were the local team, the Cardinals, the Braves of the 90s, or the Cubs.
Yeah. And
you had two carriers or Jack Buck.
And during that time, when you think 88, when I think of the 88 Cardinals, the first name that comes to mind is Vince Coleman. That's when he was at the height of just terrorizing the base pads.
Yes, he had a nice 5 or 8 year run of 100 stolen base a year from 85, and broke in and got famously ran over by a tarp going 1 mile an hour. Still not sure how that happened.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's funny. I'll have to look that up on YouTube.
Yeah, that's one of the mysteries this day. How does a man going 100 miles an hour, run like a deer, get run over by a 1 mile an hour tarp machine?
That's so funny. Yeah, that late 80s Cardinals team. I mean, Cardinals are always good. I mentioned before we got on the podcast that they broke my heart in 1982 when the Brewers played them in the World Series. But those Cardinals teams were great. Like, they had Willie McGee, obviously, Ozzie Smith, Joaquin Andujar, Bruce Sutter. They had a lot of good
Tommy Herr.
Yeah,
Tommy Herr was one. Matter of fact, Raleigh Fingers was a Cardinal for all of 24 hours before being shipped off to Milwaukee.
I did not know that. He went from the A's to St. Louis?
For 24 to 48 hours. And it was packaged along with, I think, Vukovich and
Ted Simmons.
Someone else, and Ted Simmons.
Yep. That was a good trade for the Brewers.
Ted Simmons.
Yeah, that was that was the Harvey Wallbangers team. Gosh, that team was so close, but the Cardinals just too good.
Milwaukee led the league that year in home runs.
Yeah,
in Major League Baseball.
Who was the St. Louis had a real power hitter that year too. Who was that? Big burly white guy? Jack Clark? Is that wrong?
That's right.
I guess Jack Clark.
That was the guy. Jack Clark was the only power hitter on that roster.
Yeah, I remember him. He would just ham fist the ball right into like it didn't matter. He could get he was a monster.
I mean, Todd Newfear still fears Jack Clark to this day.
I bet.
There's that famous home run with Lasora walking somebody, and Jack Clark comes up and walk off home run.
Oh yeah. I swear I saw him hit a home run where he only had one hand on the bat one time.
That was Kurt Gibson.
Well, Kirk Gibson definitely did it. The one where he was it the World Series?
Yes, that was the
Game
World
one?
Series versus Oakland '89, I think.
Yeah, he definitely did. He was off balance too. That's Clone's favorite team, so we talk about that. I actually got Clone this little bobblehead, and it's a bobble fist of Kirk Gibson kind of doing that move. It was such a big game.
That was the game. I mean, that's
And
the game that's talked about that whole entire World Series.
Yep. And it was like a year or two later, it was the Joe, what's his name from the Blue Jays?
Joe Carter.
Yeah, he had
Yep.
that incredible performance too. It's just amazing. I love baseball so much. So yeah, tell me, we were talking about Stan Musial before we started recording. Is he the greatest Cardinal of all time? Is it Albert Pujols? Is it Mark McGwire? Who is it?
I would say it's still Stan Musial because Albert got a offer that's double the contract what St. Louis wanted to pay for him, and he left. But the greatest Cardinal of all time has been, and I believe always will be, Stan Musial.
Stan the man. I don't think anybody can argue with you on that.
Bob Gibson is the greatest pitcher of all time for Cardinals, and that's easy to do. I mean, I'd say the greatest defensive man of all time would be between Ozzie Smith, Yadier Molina, and Rich Cheney's.
Oh, I didn't think of Yadier Molina. Yeah, he kind of rewrote the book for catchers. I thought you were going to say Ozzie Smith for sure because he played so much later at shortstop at a high level than most people can. Like, my favorite player is Robin Yount, and he had to move out to center field. Like, normally you just have a short window where you can be a really high level shortstop.
And Yount is definitely one of the better players of all time. I have great respect for Yount myself.
I love it. He won
ball player.
MVP at two different positions. He was a rare talent for sure.
I think the next person now of Yount that wasn't it's a one position show was Craig Biggio with Houston.
Oh yeah. And he was like the only guy I think at the time that wasn't on steroids, and he still was great every year. And I mean, he played catcher occasionally too. That guy could do anything.
Catcher, shortstop, first base, second base, third base, left field, center field, right field.
Oh yeah,
I think the only position he ever played was pitcher.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they did let him pitch an inning, didn't they?
I might have missed that, but
it's if Craig Biggio could do it, if anybody can. So So Stan Musial's the best Cardinal of all time. Now I'm going to put you on the spot though. What is your favorite autograph of all time that you have?
That I have? Honestly, I would say Harmon Killebrew.
Oh, okay. Do you have it close to you?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's see it. Can we?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, let's see the show here. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, I couldn't see the reflection there. There we go. What's the story behind it? Like, what makes it special?
Well, I bought that from a fellow I've done business with for a little bit for the last few years. I've gotten quite a bit of collection out of there. Killebrew, Al Kaline for one. Pete Rose, the all-time home run king. Hank Aaron, all-time hits king. Got a Phil Negro autograph down there.
Are we agreed that Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
I believe Pete Rose does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Anything he did as a player is legitimate and clean.
Yep.
You can argue the morality of the Joe Jackson precedent, but anything Pete Rose did on the field was clean.
I agree. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. It's one of the worst injustices. And the other injustice that I think is terrible, and Pimp pointed this out, is that if Bud Selig gets to be in the Hall of Fame, you got to let all the steroid players in, because he was the one that allowed the whole thing to happen.
Well, there's always been a rule in the Hall of Fame for integrity and sportsmanship in the original rules in 1939. Players like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, they were just pure assholes to the fans, the media, and they cheated the game.
Well, and not just them, it was like all of those guys were so defiant, like Alex Rodriguez, Ryan Braun, like they really bullied people as part of it, because I guess maybe because there's so much money on the line, but they had to know that it wasn't going to age well, that eventually they were going to look like assholes.
I mean, they had to know at some point, but I think people like Bonds and Clemens just didn't care.
Yeah.
I'm being perfectly honest.
It's too bad, because both those guys could have been the greatest of all time without anything.
I mean, Bonds could have been. I mean, Roger Clemens was a good pitcher in the 80s and the early 90s. But I knew something was up in 2003 with a 40-year-old man throwing 99 miles an hour.
Didn't he win the Cy Young again that year too?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, it's crazy. He won his two. I think he won 4 Cy Youngs, and the earliest to the latest ones were like 17 years apart. That is not normal.
That's not normal. Matter of fact, I would even argue that the recent inductee of the Hall of Fame, Ortiz, if you go back to the mid 90s when he was with Minnesota, he was just an average player. Nothing really special. I think he had like 108 home runs and maybe about 80 doubles or something like that. And then he signs this big contract at Boston in 2003 and just goes on a tear for the next decade.
Yeah, he turns into just a superhuman. That's a weird one. I
would have definitely checked into the Metro report from the time he appeared on 5 years before he appeared on about it. I would have probably slot him in at that 38, 39% while you've done your research. If you valued your job as a baseball expert, if someone comes to light that he's not legitimate, drop off the ballot. You know, for the old Sandy Souza routine. If he's legitimate, then you let him in. But any of these guys that's been playing from 1990 to 1999, that's when they started facing the minor leagues.
Yep. You
have to vet. You have to check the background story about these guys. If something smells fishy, like with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and A-Rod.
What about a guy like Jeff Bagwell? He did get in, and he was definitely on steroids, in my opinion.
That was that'd been another guy I would have vetted myself.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Like I obviously for those of you listening, the Hall of Fame voting just happened, and David Ortiz got in, which was why this is on both of our minds.
Which is like 78% of the vote. He just got in by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, because most people were, well, what would you say? They didn't vote for him based on what they knew but couldn't prove, I guess. Because if you just looked at the numbers in the history, he gets voted in for sure. But there's a good chunk of people that just weren't going to vote for him no matter what.
Yep. And as I said, I even went back when they were announced. I'm like, I think he's just a average to maybe slightly above average guy in Minnesota. Turns out I was right. If you go by the baseball almanac and just isolate from when he started at 21 to before he signed his contract, you won't see a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And 21 through 27 is prime years for a player.
Yeah,
I guess Ortiz had a little bit of trouble for some reason. But guys from the island can hit. Just as our Pujols, he comes from the same area.
Yeah, was Pujols clean?
He did just fine.
You think Pujols was clean?
Yes, he was clean. If there's something that come up with our Pujols in
Yeah.
say his prime years in 2003, 4, 5, and this suddenly popped, you don't think every media in this country would be reporting on it?
For
That this
sure.
young phenom first baseman from the Dominican Republic is positive for steroids. Every baseball media, don't care if it's MLB Network, ESPN, Baseball Digest, anywhere we be reporting on it.
That was my least favorite part of it, is as a baseball fan and a purist, like most of us are, that I think that play CSFBL, it like sucked that there was just these asterisks everywhere and you were suspicious of everybody. Like even now when we're talking about Albert Pujols, in my mind, damn near everybody that played, I'm suspicious of. And that's not fair to that whole era, because it was a great era of baseball that
It was.
just, all this got ruined.
Well, I mean, there's legitimate guys. For example, Tony Gwynn.
Yep.
Let's see, Chipper Jones, Todd Helton, Larry Walker, Albert Pujols, Adrian Beltre, who's coming up very shortly on the Hall of Fame list.
Yep.
I think he gets in.
Yeah, just longevity. He's been so good for so long, did all the right things. I like him a lot.
I mean, to me, the all-time home run list will be Aaron, Ruth, Pujols, Mays, Ken Griffey Jr. There's another one that played clean.
Let's hope.
That's top 5 right there.
Let's hope. I always thought Griffey probably was clean, but God, he just got swept up in the worst years that you could play and, not be suspicious.
I mean, Griffey, his only problem was he liked to find the wall too much. And that's how he missed a chunk of playing time.
Oh, he was the most athletic guy. I still love him to this day. Like there was a couple guys that what could have been guys, and Griffey still had an amazing career, but like if he could have stayed healthy. And then the other one obviously is Bo Jackson. I would have loved to see him put in like 15 years.
Yeah, just pure baseball. Forget about football, Bo. Just stick to baseball. Just like Deion Sanders too. Above average hitter as a ball player, all-time great in football.
Yep. It made me wonder if he didn't play football, like he was very Ricky Henderson-ish. And it made me wonder like how good he could have been if he was solely focused on baseball, but he was just way too good at football not to make that his primary thing.
Well, I mean, a lot of these ball players were two-sport athletes. Bob Gibson and Ferguson Jenkins were actually trying out for the Harlem Globetrotters at a certain point in time. Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting.
Larry Walker loved hockey, but he did not do as well at hockey.
He was a little bit too big, I think, for a hockey player. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So okay, so one more question on the autographs. I forget who it was, but Clone was telling me you had a pretty kick-ass baseball too. I'm not sure what he was talking about. Do you have autographed baseballs?
I do have some autographed baseballs. Matter of fact, I've even got. I'll even pull this one out real quick too.
Yeah. How many autographs do you have total?
I'd say about 2 dozen. I would say.
Yeah. Nice.
Matter of fact, I'll even introduce you to the all-time home run king.
All right. There he is, Hammer and Hank. Is he wearing a Milwaukee jersey? No, it looks like he was in Atlanta there.
I think that is actually a Milwaukee.
Oh,
grave.
Is it?
I think it is.
Okay.
That's a young Hank Aaron. That's not the old man.
The greatest Milwaukee player of all time. Obviously, that's
yeah.
So that one's a treasure. That's cool.
Yes. Matter of fact, I'll show old Pete here.
There he is. Get him into the Hall of Fame. I want to make that like our thing as CSFBL, like the entire group, like I want to get our collective power together and put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Like that should be our mission.
I've even mentioned you list all his deals as deal as a player, but in the final line you do mention the betting scandal.
Yep.
You do mention the final line.
Yep.
You list all the great things he did as a player and as a manager, but you do mention what happened in 1989.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you have people with these personal struggles, it does become part of their story. I mean, look at a guy like Ty Cobb. It doesn't make him any less great of a baseball player, but he was a real jerk in real life.
He was. I mean, he really was.
But yeah,
I mean, the Hall of Fame is not the Hall of Saints.
That's right.
I think every man, woman, and child is trying to be in the Hall of Saints, but
yep,
it's got a chance to be elected. That the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown is definitely not the Hall of Saints.
That's right. Those are two different places for sure. So yeah, bring it back to CSFBL here for a second. So what other leagues are you in? What keeps you busy?
Well, I'm in along with Lon Jerk being a commission. I'm in historical replay, new era.
Oh yeah,
I've got a few. I've got a bunch more actually.
Oh yeah, you're in as many teams as I am. I'm looking through them right now, and you got a lot of 12 teams or something like that.
I know about at least 10.
Yep. Oh, you got two teams with the same name. I don't know how you do that to keep them straight. You have two St. Louis Cardinals.
That's been I think I might need to.
Yeah. St. Louis Cardinals 2.
I couldn't keep them straight there for a while. Matter of fact, there's days I still can't keep them straight.
Yeah, that's funny. You're the first person I met that's in as many teams or leagues as I am. I like having a bunch of different stuff going on. Plus, there's a lot of interesting league formats. Are you in any those leagues that have an interesting league format that you think is fun?
Well, there's a league format like a salary cap or Carl, I think is a good league format. I've been in that league off and on for years. That's an interesting format.
Which one? What is it called?
Caribbean League.
Oh, Caribbean League. I don't know about Caribbean League. What's the deal there?
Well, you can be a last place team and have the worst record in baseball, for example, and not get the number one pick. They do a random lottery.
Oh, is it a random lottery for the entire 24 teams?
For the entire 24, I think for at least about 15 anyway.
Oh, so it's like a true lottery, like NBA style.
Yes. If for some reason your numbers get picked out of there, you can go from 15th to 1st, or like May 1st to 10th or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. I think I like the idea of the wheel draft, so you eventually all get the same pick placement over time, because it feels like in Caribbean League that there's a lot of luck to be had there. Like you could get the first pick 3 years in a row or 24th.
In theory, yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's ever happened.
But,
yeah. Hopefully not, because people would be screaming for a rule change. Yeah, that's good. So what's your favorite part of CSFBL, and conversely, like what's the one thing, if you could fix it, what would you do?
My favorite part of CSFBL is those friends I've made over the years, the camaraderie between people.
Yep, me too. That's what's kept me around all these years is the community.
Yep, and I've had some life changes since 2005. I ain't been married to have a kid, but I've gotten a job since then. I've got busy with life, but I always still come back to CSFBL whenever a day is done.
Yeah, I always tell people like I changed jobs, I moved, I went through a divorce, but you know what was consistent through all that? CSFBL. That was the one thing, and it was always a good little escape. And there's a lot of good guys there that if you are having a tough time, like you got a lot of people that good little support network too.
Yep, if you fit in the right people, you definitely will have a support network. That's for sure.
And so okay, so now conversely, if there's one thing that you could fix about the game, change about the game, what would it be? Or a feature you want to add, whatever you think.
Quite honestly, a feature I like to add is a ballpark design. Like a basic blueprint of whatever ballpark you have on your franchise. For example.
Tell me more. So like you don't want just the dimensions, you want to make the park.
Yeah, but I want to actually make at least a rough draft blueprint of what the park actually is.
Gotcha.
That way people actually know that hey, there might be a ooch in left center, or there could be a big wall in right field or left field, what have you, like the Green Monster, or you could have like columns out in throughout the ballpark, like Old Tiger Stadium.
Yep. Yeah, that's the Tigers, not the Royals. I don't know why I'm thinking of the Royals with those big columns, but yeah.
Yep, Old Tiger Stadium had a bunch of columns. It was built in the 1910s, I do believe, and was torn down in 1999. Wrigley Field in Chicago has them is that Jewel ballpark style setup, and has those columns, separating the first deck from second deck and up the line.
You remember Wrigley Field until like the late 90s still didn't have lights. They couldn't play night games there.
No, they couldn't. I think they finally got lights in 1989.
What a crazy thing that was. Like I don't know how they were getting through the whole season with day games.
Well, that I'm not sure either.
A lot of people had to skip work, I guess.
Well, it's the classic big name teams in town.
Yep. Businessman special.
Business special. Yep. Calling sick, like, games aren't Wrigley.
I'm calling it.
Today.
Yep, calling in Mets because I got to go watch the Mets. Well, good. Hey, actually, we already went overtime, but before we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to share with the people listening, with CSFBL as a whole, or anything you have to say?
Well, I do appreciate everybody having me on the side for a long time. I know I've made a lot of friends, and I hope I've been a good comparator into those leagues I've been in over the years. I just always appreciate unwinding a little bit and actually focus on my level of the game, which is baseball.
Amen.
I've been a baseball fan all my life.
Yeah, I love it, man. And thanks again for letting me in lawn chair. I think in many ways it's the ideal baseball league because you hear everybody in the forum say the same thing. They're always like, grab a beer and have a seat on the lawn, and everybody it's very communal like that. And I think it's just a great representation of what I hope CSFBL is for people. And so thanks for carrying that torch and making lawn chair what it is.
Quite honestly, I think we do need to see more 2 and 4 game leagues on the site, so that people can actually settle down a little bit and actually enjoy playing a game.
Yeah, I agree. And Raven Nod and there's a couple other people that have been advocating for 2 game a day leagues. And so that's the other reason I want to do this podcast with you is I want to promote that and have people give those a shot. You're going to really like them. You're going to like the way that you can control your team without feeling rushed, without missing games, how you can control your lineup, free agency. There's more time for trades. There's also more time for the forums, all good things. So check them out.
there's definitely more time for evaluation of your roster as is. And quite honestly, another feature I'd like to see added is a managerial, live firing team like a Earl Weaver or a Bobby Cox. Called on go raise some reason, pop out a dugout and argue with the umpire. Maybe Art Barnes strikes.
Go full Lou Piniella and throw the base.
Yep. Go Lou Piniella, pull the old Earl Weaver line. You're here just to blank us.
Yes.
That's a YouTube. That's a YouTube highlight. I'm not going to say that in prime time, but
that's right. I forgot Earl Weaver lost his mind on people.
You think you're going to make the Hall of Fame? Yes, I'm going to make the Hall of Fame. Nope. 50 years from now, nobody marry you.
Yeah, he was a soundbite machine, and a great video game, Earl Weaver Baseball. I don't know if you ever played it when you were a kid, but it was fun.
I might have. I think I've played about every baseball game since the original Nintendo baseball back in 88, 89.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
The one that was just called baseball or
just baseball.
Yeah, yeah. And then for Super Nintendo, I got really addicted to Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, which I still think for the time was the best baseball game ever.
It was MVP 04, the MVP franchise itself. To me, is probably the best baseball series of all time, because on that particular game, I could play the game like I wanted. I could hit, I can run, I can steal, I can hit home runs, I could beat you 15 different ways. And I mean, MVP 04, for example, you can actually pop out a dugout and argue with the umpire. It might be just a small little discussion, or you could go full board Bobby Cox and just raise them hell.
Chew them out. Yeah, I love it. That's great. So I'll have to have you come back on again. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you to everybody watching, listening, whatnot. Please make sure you subscribe on YouTube, click the bell so that you can get notified when we get more of these out here. It really means a lot to me that you take some time to join us, and join us on the lawn. The lawn's always welcome. So until next time.
Time for a waiting list.
Join the waiting list while you run home. See you later.